Hello and welcome to the Arcimoto podcast. This week we're going to be talking with Carl, the creative director at Arcimoto. You've seen his work on our website, at events, and on our YouTube channel. And he's going to be talking about what it was like when he first started working with Arcimoto and what he's currently working on. Thanks for tuning in.
Hello, welcome to the show. Today we have with us Carl. Would you want to take him in and introduce your position at Arcimoto?
My name is Carl Tietze. I am the creative director at Arcimoto. And I do a lot of different things. I run the video department. I oversee the graphic design department. And I've recently been overseeing the website upgrades. And I've done a lot of different things at Arcimoto.
I like it. A lot of the aesthetics that people associate with our company is thanks to the work you do.
Yeah, I hope so. It's been very interesting, doing a lot of different things. I've also been some of the musical entertainment. At the grand opening of the AMP, I was one of the performers, and I compose most of the music that is in our videos. Recently, we've been making too many videos for me to compose an original score, but for all the big videos, going back to late 2018, I am the music composer of those.
That's awesome. So 2018, you've been here at least 4 years then?
Yep, I started October 1st, 2018, and the marketing department was a whopping 5 people. And they said, well, we've got this video going out today, make something. And I, brought my little keyboard to work and I set it up and there I was making music and cranked it out the first day.
Save us a licensing fee. That's awesome.
That's very important.
Yeah.
And there have been a couple of times where we've used one of my tracks. We used one of my tracks from a different project that I had done and I owned it, but we kept getting flagged for using it, and it's very difficult to convince YouTube or someone that you are you.
Yeah.
So we had to use something else.
Rough. And so what's the transition like from 2018 till today in terms of were you just video and now you're website and graphic designer?
Yeah. So, well, can we even go back even further about how I ended up here in the first place? Because it's interesting. I probably met Mark, I'm not really sure. I'm going to say 2014, 2015. And he went to go see Solovox. And that's what I have been doing for, 20 years. We can talk about that. But he used to come to my shows. And that's kind of how he saw me, obviously, as a music performer and producer. And first I did an Arcimoto event in Portland in probably 2016, and then I was one of the performers at the grand opening of the AMP in 2017. But what Mark didn't know is that my television and experience goes back to 1990. It's a very long time ago. Happy to get into that. And I started my own media company called Activator Media in I think it was 2016. And I was kind of doing the same thing. I was directing infomercial or corporate type videos for companies, mostly in Portland, composing the music, doing the graphics. I was creating websites for clients. I was editing audio podcasts for clients. I was handling social media for different clients. And I had my own company kind of going there. And I remember kind of getting off stage at the AMP grand opening and just kind of mentioned, well, I do this other thing too. And a few months goes by and then a few more months goes by. I'm like, man, well, I guess I guess he just wasn't interested. And my lady was at a party, and Mark was there, and Mark said, "Well, when's Carl's gonna come? When's he starting?" And she told me this, and like 6 months had gone by, and I actually was crazy enough to think that he was going to call me. I don't know what I was thinking. He's a busy guy.
CEO, he doesn't have much on his plate.
Apparently. So that's kind of and I skipped a very big part. In the first part of 2018, Mark had me compose all the music for Marble It Up, which is one of the video games that he was able to create with this team of guys. And that was just super fun. I made about 70 minutes of original marble music for that game, and that was just a massive undertaking. So that was kind of part of it too. And 2018, it was really great. I was able to just kind of get in slowly. I was a Adobe Premiere guy. Arcimoto uses Final Cut. Had to make that transition. And I got to learn a lot about the gear that we had then. Got to learn how to be in the back seat of an FUV, with a camera like this. And kind of got my skills up a little bit more. And 2019, we just started, cranking out bigger and bigger videos. I think the first one that I did that was really a big task was the tour of the amp with Joe Morgan, which was one of your guests. That took a long time. Had a great time doing that. And just did a bunch of videos throughout, that year. But in 2020, that was a real test, because obviously for everyone, 2020 was a huge test. But that's when it really came down to just me running the video department. And that was when we announced the Deliverator. That was when we announced the Rapid Responder. That was when a global pandemic came and shut down our operations for 6-7 weeks. And I was just kind of feeling a lot of the weight about we have to get this messaging out. And so that was I would say from January 2020 to October 2020, I was the entire video department, shooting everything, composing the music, working on scripts with Mark. And he and I kind of learning how to communicate with each other. I'm always trying to, to simplify and de-engineer some of the speak for the crowd. 2020 was a big year. Got some more help in October of that year with my buddy Kevin Balmer, who's made all of the Ride of the Arcanauts videos, among other things. And now, we have a much larger team. I think there was about 80 Arcimoto employees when I started. Now what?
275.
275. So it was. I felt it was time to take a more a wider role. Because we have so many more people. And that was, so I guess creative director started about 7 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And, I think I've been creative director for about 30 minutes. And Mark said, make a new website. You have until tomorrow. He didn't really say that. But, It's been crazy.
Yeah. How do you like that transition from, months of being the only person making every aspect of it to now you probably work just with team members and they actually have a lot of feet on the ground kind of thing?
That, I think that's always a fear with people. I'm good at, making shoes and, you're a shoemaker or you're But when you have people, all of a sudden, you're not making shoes, or you might still be making shoes, but you're managing people, and I think it's gone pretty well. It's obviously it's always a little freaky, sitting around the Zoom call and like, all right, what are we doing next? And it's like bunch of people looking at, I don't know, what are we doing next? Yeah. So, but we have such great, graphic designers, and, everyone is just, super talented. And, right now my main mission, while I'm continuing to run, the video team, there's 3 of us, is just to make sure that as we take the next step for the company, we are going to have just more of a, I don't want to say monolithic, but there needs to be, everyone needs to know that came from the company. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, a social media thing, whether it's a print ad, whether it's another video, and that is a big beast, to wrangle. And it's kind of cool in a way of like watching a company go so big so quickly, is that it does get messy. It's like whether it's a new factory building that is being, demoed to make room for mass production, or, 10 new team members, and it's like, how do those fit into the thing? It's going to get messy, but it's a very exciting. I'd rather be doing this than be in a company that is, the concrete has dried. Yeah. We're still at a very wet concrete, place.
You're documenting the formation of the company as it grows. How have you seen Mark's speech ability? I think Jesse talked about it, but he's a phenomenal speech giver today. Was he there when you started, or have you seen a big shift in like the quality of Arcimoto's content?
I think he's always been great. One of my, friends, just, one of the first times that, well, actually, the big one was, I think it was March of 2020. Maybe it was April. I don't remember. But it was right after the pandemic started. And that was just a really heavy time. And we really worked on that script to here's what's going on. Here, we're going to have to pause. We were on quarantine, and at the exact moment that we are releasing the Deliverator and the Rapid Responder and all these big things are happening. And that was when the first time that Mark and I really worked together on a script and with him on camera. And, my buddy was just saying that is invaluable for a company. If you can have, a CEO who is also comfortable on camera and can speak at length and just, not put his foot in his mouth every 10 seconds like some other people can, that is a huge asset, So it's been great. Again, sometimes just like, I don't think people are going to understand that. And so sometimes we have to simplify it a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, it's great.
Nice. You've almost been doing some direction of some sort since you started in terms of kind of altering the main component of videos that are put out.
Yeah. And, again, when I started, there wasn't always a compelling, story to tell. September 2019 was when we really cut the ribbon on the assembly line, and started, producing evergreens for customers. So that was almost a full year where we were making stuff, but it wasn't at this volume, and it wasn't, the stakes were kind of low, and that was just a perfect way, to get started, and yeah, it just kind of, drew on a lot of the writing that I had done. I actually started as a writer in television back in the 90s is what I was doing even before I was doing the music.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's phenomenal. What excites you the most about working on the Arcimoto vision, kind of crafting how people perceive the company and stuff? Like, what excites you about hopefully the impact it'll have on the world with mass adoption?
What excites me about the videos, about the communication?
Yeah, just like the main message that you think excites other people the most, probably you have a large impact on. Like, well, this excites me, let's talk about it,
That is that here the way that I don't know if Mark, I always say, that, we want to change the way that people get around. We want to fight climate change. And I always like to say, and we accidentally made the funnest vehicle on the planet.
Nice.
Now, he always says, don't say accidentally. It was always a plan to be the funnest product on the planet. I was like, okay. I think it's a wonderful, accident that everyone who gets in the vehicle wants one. I personally have never seen anyone get out of the vehicle and say, I hate it, I don't want one. Not one time.
Yeah.
It's a 100% thumbs up every time somebody drives one. So who wouldn't want to shoot that, tell that story? But there's also the story of the why. There's also the story of why are we doing this? Why is it important that we are doing this? Mm-hmm. And that's not always easy, to put those things together. So I think we have some videos that are product videos, whether it's, the Mean Lean Machine that was, that we did, real quick in time for the 222 event, or whether, the Roadster or whatever. Then we have the customer testimonial videos, because, somebody talking, a real person on the street talking about something is very effective. We don't hire actors. Anyone who's watching this who thinks, oh, they paid that person, to say that, not one time. I would love to do that. I actually would love to have a budget to hire actors and put words into their mouth. We don't do that. All reactions on our videos are genuine, and we're going to keep it that way. The fun part for me is I love writing writing the scripts. I love shooting the vehicles. I didn't realize how much fun I was going to have in the editing, music composition phase.
Yeah.
Because, it is a noteworthy skill so I've been told. If you can have the editor and the music composer be the same person, that's a very unique thing, because when I'm editing something, I'm already kind of hearing a tempo in my head, and then I can just take that, put it into the music software, start to compose something, and then I can take it back into the other software, tweak that, and I can go back and forth as many times as I want, hopefully not too much, until I can get something that actually really works. That's why, and I think a good example of this, and then I'll shut up. If you watch the stakeholder webinar video that came out a few weeks ago, That's the Zoom call with the stakeholders, with our exec team. It's about a 30, 40-minute video. But right there at the beginning is the new 8-minute Ramp It Up recap. That has stock music. The Ramp It Up recap video, which you can now see on our channel, which is that same 8 minutes taken from that, that's my music. And I spent a good week on that. And you can hear the difference. One has stock music. One has music that is responsive to what is being said. And it's a lot, we don't have to hire someone to come in and score. So I like to think that I bring some value at that. So
you write the music to it after the speech. You don't tell Mark before he goes up on stage, try to make your points on 120 beats per second.
I do not. No. But because I'm also the video editor, I just remove those words. I don't like that he said that. And I'll just remove the words. And I'll just kind of get things into a timing. Oh yeah, there's lots of times that I will change the timing of what he is saying if it will end on the right beat.
Nice. And so moving into your role as director, I assume you have a lot more to do with the actual allocation of resources in terms of, like, it was thrown around like, hey, maybe a Super Bowl ad. Like, how do you kind of weigh the pros and cons of where to direct the marketing budget of a company that, like, you know, in the earlier stages, asset, you know, preservation is a pretty big thing. It's not like you can be like, we'll just throw money at the wall. Like, you've done a really good job at making sure that we're doing it effectively.
I appreciate that, but I cannot take credit for that, because the answer to that is I don't know how much of that even I want to get into. That's more up to, Eric Fritz, our chief marketing officer, and the rest of the executives.
So that's why they call you creative director.
That's right. Okay. I obviously am a part of a conversation if we're going to drop a bunch of money to do, for ads on something. But to me, it's way more important. What is this for? What is the goal? Are we trying to drive more sales in this area? Are we trying to drive rentals in this area? I will go and try to make the best asset for that. When we start getting into, like, how much money do we want to, spend on these locations, my eyes just glaze over. I'm an artist. Professional musician for 20 years.
Yeah, what was it like going from that, of having your own media consulting business, where it sounds like you had a lot of different clients, to just one that you focus all your time and energy on? Do you like it more?
A big part is, I'm not wondering how I'm going to pay the rent next month. And I was wondering how I was going to pay the rent next month for 20 years. And that'll really wear on you. I mean, I had a great time. I don't know how many shows I played, maybe 1,000. And between that and the consulting stuff, I loved it. But with the consulting stuff, you have a different boss every job.
Yeah.
You have a different person that you have to navigate and, explain to them why they're stupid. Now I only have one person I have to explain why they're stupid. And that's just way more convenient. Yeah. It's the same team, and I like this much more. Aside from, the certainty of, like, this is what I do, these are the people that I work with. It's just such a fun product to deal with.
It's a joy. It makes our jobs a lot easier having a product that we enjoy. Everyone who gets out, as you said earlier, leaves with a smile on their face. It's like it markets itself in a lot of ways, whereas if it was just like, it's good for the climate and right-sizing the city, it'd be a lot harder to try to, form that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all you got to do is just put the product in their hands, let them go, capture that moment, and it's always a slam dunk, But there's obviously going to be, there's always going to be some kind of a marketing challenge for anything, especially something new, because we're not just trying to tell people about something fun. We're also saying, you know what, that road doesn't need to be that wide. We don't need to have, you don't need that 6, 7, 8,000 pound car to go pick up your groceries or to go get a cup of coffee, and, not everybody wants to hear that message. So there's always going to be challenges, but, again, being able to just know that once they drive it, they want it.
Absolutely.
That's pretty easy.
It's interesting having it be a slightly higher ticket item. Like you're selling $20 things. It's like someone will spend that on a whim, but you really have to be convincing with the media you're making, the ads, the website, every aspect of it has to really assure someone and be convincing. So, kind of, do you enjoy having that harder task of being like, someone has to know our product, sometimes without even being able to sit in the seat? I mean, we have pre-order customers and people who bought it without.
I don't think of it that way as much as I think about what the budget and size of teams are that work at Toyota or Tesla or something like that. We are punching well above our weight. I like to think. We do our own photography. We do our own videos. We make our own music. We have our own social media TikTok team. And, you look, I heard some, word of mouth thing about the size of, Rivian's, video team. And it was, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was just, like Hollywood studio, like what?
Astounding.
Like hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people.
We were just looking up, Nissan USA has about $100 million yearly budget for their ads. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah. I'll do it for $99 million.
Really, though.
Yeah.
I'll be cost effective.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, not to but I'm sorry, right when I first started, I had to make a convincing argument to get a camera battery. We need this battery. Are you sure we need that battery? And it's like, I get it. We are a manufacturing company. And every little thing that we can get to help, our side of it, I get it. But if it's not that, then you're just going to be throwing money away to an ad agency. A lot of money. Yeah. They don't work for you. They may not even understand the product. And the bottom line is, me and my video team, nobody knows how to shoot an Arcimoto product better in the world.
You got to be around it a lot.
Because it's like, these are the angles that look good. Here's how we're going to drive around. We invented a camera car. We have an industry standalone camera vehicle that literally 100% of every movie, television person that has looked at the Cameo, their eyes light up. There's nothing else like it.
We'll have to have the Cameo on the green screen behind you for one of these episodes.
We'll
you just made one. You'll have to re-edit it.
Yeah. We're talking about a silent 75 mile an hour vehicle with complete open back that you can get all these angles from. Just that.
How did that come about? Were you saying, I can't be kind of bending out the side of a FUV or...
There was an original Cameo way back in the day, and I've seen photographs of it, and wow, did it look dangerous. It looked like they really just took like a kid's booster seat and strapped it onto the back of a FUV. We knew that we needed something for two reasons. One is that, yes, a lot of the great stuff that we got, we were using a Ball Osmo camera, kind of like a wind-resistant ball camera, out the side, and getting a lot of good stuff. But I wanted to get a better camera that could zoom, and just a more professional camera. And your arm's going to fall off. It's just not. You just can't really get good shots. We tried something, and we still have this system where I was using a suction cup and a remote control where the ball camera was attached to the back of the cargo box.
So a lot of faith in a suction cup.
And yes, and it never failed.
Wow.
But there was some operator error once. But anyways, and so I was sitting in the back, just using this kind of remote control for the camera. But we had a whoopsie during a video shoot down in California where one of our drivers wasn't quite paying attention and rear-ended one of the other FUVs, and it just got kind of, and the vehicles were fine, but it just got beat up enough on the cargo box that they said, okay, we'll make Carl that one. Let's just, so they ripped off the back of that, turned around the seat, and now we're about to have, I think, 3 more. We're going to have cameos as part of the Portland Marathon as the lead car. There's some other big sporting events coming up that we are going to be involved with. I mean, this is a camera car you can put onto a track, like a track and field, running track, and just go right alongside people. I'll give you some of the video if you wanted to show it. We had a couple of Olympic athletes, and we're just quietly going alongside of them. So yeah, we're about to have some more of those.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
And so what excites you about the horizon of Arcimoto in terms of once we get to this place, we could have an entire room that's a green screen, or what are some things that you're like, man, that'll be really nice once the company allows for you to kind of do this kind of work? I mean, earlier today you sent me The Mandalorian had a huge LED screen.
Yeah.
You actually look at the Hollywood movies, and it's an infinite upslope of how much you can accomplish if funds and things allow for it. What's the next thing, the next step up that you're like, I think we can make extra good content with that?
That's a really good question. When we moved into one of the new buildings, I did just put a flag down onto one of the rooms and say, just give me this room. Because for years, they would be like, hey, this great looking FUV is getting on the truck. Do you want to come shoot it? I'm like, great. How long do I have? 10 minutes. And there's just a lot of photographs in 2019, 2020 in a parking lot in front of a warehouse, So I was able to put a flag down and get that photo studio. Obviously, we've gotten some great photos out of it. We're getting some great video moments in that room. I want to build that out more. I want to get. We have a softbox over the vehicles that's on 4 different control points that we can actually tilt that. I want to get some more powerful lights in there. I do want to experiment more with the green screen kind of stuff. But other than that kind of stuff, most of what, I have in my head doesn't necessarily require big money as much as it requires big ideas and big patience behind, in front of the screen. I want to continue to marry the music to the imagery.
It's awesome that as you've grown, you've kept creative control over, I make the music, it's not like you're just so many meetings and working with so many people, you kind of lose that. You still get to focus on what really excites you about the work.
Yeah, and there's no doubt about it. We have definitely pulled some stock music recently, just to keep things going. But if I can capture the fun of the product while also capturing the seriousness of the mission, I know I can do that with music. And if I can continue to have some kind of control where when people see something pop up on YouTube, and just by hearing it, and seeing it, they say that's an Arcimoto video.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. Because, when you see an Apple print ad or a Tesla ad, you typically know what it is pretty quickly. Yeah. We need to be at that. We need to be at that part. And it's also kind of crazy too, because we have so many different platforms.
Yeah.
We have the flatbed. I can have an entirely different campaign just for the flatbed, for people working on farms, people working in industrial things. That's why I keep the bass and the electric guitar around with all the other tools that I use, because I played all that kind of stuff for the Roadster ad. I get to make different styles of music based on the product. Is what I'm saying.
And this is so far probably going to be our longest episode, but I want to talk on one last topic and then give you some free space. Bass and guitar.
I have 2 more hours of stuff I want to get to. But go ahead.
I would have expected you to be a keytar guy, but you said there's a lot
I do have a keytar. I have 2 guitars.
Nice. You said there's a lot of platforms. I thought you were meaning social media, and some in terms of like what's it been like your progression of being in the media field, and all of a sudden new things pop up, new team members pop up, and kind of like understanding like, well, this still needs to have the Arcimoto kind of name and that trademark look and feel to the video while still being app specific. Like you have a lot of balancing to do. What's that been like?
I do, and that's why I'm super grateful for what you guys have been doing with TikTok and Instagram and handling all that, because not only have you had amazing success with what you're doing, I don't think that stuff needs to be as cohesive in the same way. Until, back to like the wet concrete, we're at the perfect time to experiment with this. We're at the perfect, that's why in our meetings, I don't know if you've ever heard me in all, 7-8 weeks of this particular role say, that's a stupid idea. We're not going to do it. We're going to do my idea. I don't think I've really said that. I say, I think that's a stupid idea, but we're going to try it. Because, we should try, because, the bottom line is, and this is something that I mentioned before, and then I promise I will shut up. Our department is so important. Because what if there were no Arcimoto videos? Just what if every Arcimoto video, social media thing just disappeared overnight? Only the people that own those vehicles and their neighbors that see them driving those awesome vehicles would know we exist. We are the conduit to the planet. There's 9 billion people that need to know about this. There are politicians that need to know about this. There are city planners that need to think about this. They need to think about right-sizing the footprint of our transportation. We are the conduit that gets that out. Mark's message is a strong one. He is great at delivering it. And we have to get the message out, and so I take it very seriously. But until we find the particular thing that works every single time, we're going to try a lot of different things. And I'm just really stoked that I'm not winging it alone anymore. And I think, as the podcast hopefully shows, we hire good people.
Yeah. That's the goal. Spotlight wonderful people like yourself. Yeah. Thank you for coming
2
on.
2 keytars. You didn't talk to me at all about my keytar. It's fine. We're out of time. We'll do a part 2. I'll be back tomorrow.
Yep. 2 episodes in a row. 2 weeks in a row of Carl. Enjoy, folks.
Yeah.
No. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful day. All right. Goodbye.